So meditation instructions, some nice basic ones. I'm going to use this Buddha, sitting Buddha, to describe. So the first place that we're going to be concentrating on is the nose and the top lip. Just either here at the top lip, and then secondly up in the top area, the sneeze area I call that, just inside the nose, feeling the breath. And the third place we're going to concentrate is the abdomen, the stomach area, the rising and falling of the breathing, rising and falling of the stomach. It's just the warmth and squashiness of the stomach as it moves out and then moves in. So again, first place here, the top lip, and then slowly moving up inside the nose until we get to this area here, the sneeze area, where you feel tickling where you're going to sneeze. It's a smaller area. And then travelling down into the stomach area, abdomen area here. So the technique here is with counting after the breath, breathing in, breathing out, 1. Breathing in, breathing out, 2, up to like 8. And that's just focusing on the warmth of the lip thickness. It's a very general one. It's just to start building up some concentration. When the concentration's a bit higher, we move up into the air channel up here. Very fine hairs are inside the nose that can sense the warmth and the coolness of the breath, of the air. There you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, something like that. I did it a little bit fast, but go up to 48 and then start again. This heightens the concentration. Having got some concentration, we concentrate in this area, the abdomen, the stomach, as it rises and falls. So we'd then be looking downwards like that. After a while, when you build up concentration, you find out that you are sort of inside looking at the stomach from within, looking at the stomach from within, or you are at the front looking towards the abdomen, or from the side. But generally it doesn't really matter. The more absorbed you become, then the more you become one with the object, or you become very close to it rather than detached. Okay, so now let's say we're on to this third position, the rising and falling of the abdomen. So then we'd be something like aware and looking down at the rising and the falling of the abdomen. So here's the abdomen, and we would be watching it rising, falling, rising and falling. So then we start to add something else. In between the rising and the falling, we start to add the sweeping of the body. So we have rising, falling, and then you sweep the body. That means that you become aware of the arms and the legs and the body in that just brief sweep. It's a very short time. It's only half a second, something like that, because you have the rising, falling, and you sweep the body. Rising, falling, and then you sweep the body. And the sweep doesn't have to start somewhere and end somewhere. It's just expanding the area that you are aware of. So it's just feeling the warmth of the arms and the heaviness of the arms and the touching of the clothes and the chair or the floor or the cushion that you're sitting on. So we got rising, falling, and then the body. Rising, falling, then there's the body. Okay? So that goes on for quite a while. When you find you are distracted by sounds such as hearing, sounds that are around in the environment, sounds that are distracting, that you find that you're suddenly concentrating on, then you make a noting. Rising, falling, sitting. Rising, and then you think, awareness of hearing, awareness of hearing, awareness of hearing. If you get stuck in thoughts that are mainly visual, stuck in thoughts such as remembering, and it's mainly visual, you can just use awareness of seeing. Or if it's sound, like you get a music song on your brain, you just use awareness of hearing, awareness of hearing, awareness of hearing. Or if you like, you can do the more specific things like awareness of planning or awareness of remembering, and so on. So whatever you find that your mind is distracted to, you make a mental note, and that is all. And then you just come back again to the primary object, which is the rising and falling of the abdomen. And then rising, falling, sitting. Rising, falling, sitting. And awareness of seeing, awareness of hearing, rising, falling, sitting. Rising, falling. Awareness of remembering, awareness of remembering, awareness of touching, awareness of warmth, and rising, falling, sitting. Rising, falling, sitting. And then the next additional thing that we add to make the concentration stay focused and engaged within the body area is to add what are called touching points. So this is added during the time you make the sweeping of the body, that then you make rising, falling, and as you sweep the body, you also add two tiny little one ball, and it goes through and it touches the right hip, and then quickly another one that sweeps through the body and comes and touches the left hip. So then in effect you get rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching, rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching. But that ball goes through the body, touching, touching. So like this, rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching. Rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching. So it's like a little cursor, like a computer cursor that you see on the screen, and it just tiny little ball, small ball or point or pixel like that, and it just moves through your body and goes to touch, and then goes through your body and goes to touch there, right? And then you can continue like that. We can also continue to add more touching points to increase the concentration. So I'm going to tell you where some of those touching points are. Basically they go in pairs, and the pairs go right hip, left hip for the first two. For the next two, it's underneath on the sit bones, right butt to left buttock. So that's 3 and 4. And then next one is rising, falling, sitting. So we have touching, touching, rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching, and then rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching. These are the back of the knee. So basically, if the figure was standing, they would go right hip, right butt, left butt, sitting bone, and then right back of the knee, left back of the knee. And then the next two are the ankle bones. Ankle bone, which is underneath. Okay, under the foot, ankle bone. The other one's under there, ankle bone. And the next two are the right top of the foot, and then the left top of the foot. And then the next one is the right knee, and then the left knee. And then the next one is the right top of the thigh, and the left top of the thigh. And the next one is the right, what we call right groin, and then the left groin, just where the legs meet the body, torso. And then there's one called the front cross, and then the left cross. So that's right hip, middle of the chest, left shoulder, and then left hip, middle of the chest, right shoulder. And then the last one on the back, last part on the back, is called the back cross, and it goes right hip, middle of the back, left shoulder, left hip, middle of the back, right shoulder. So those ones are done in threes, and they're done quite fast, these ones that are across. So you have rising, falling, sweeping down the body, touching, touching, touching. And rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching, touching. Right? And then you go back to the beginning. Rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching. Rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching. Rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching. Rising, falling, sitting, touching, touching the ankle bones. Rising,